First week of the NFL playoffs. I'm Andy. That's Jim from Winning in the Shadows. We're going to be breaking down the props and parlays aspect of this. We got some crazy situations with everything in California. Shout out to everyone that's there. Hope everyone is safe. Hope everyone is. Shout out to the first responders who are doing miracles, like literally miracles. So you're in our thoughts and in our prayers for sure. But for this video, we're going to start talking about these props and parlays. I don't know if I'm going to have very many opinions on the Monday game, but we're going to start with the passing props here. We're going to start with the Chargers at the Texans here. Jim, you got CJ Stroud and Justin Herbert. I don't know. I find the passing yards props this week really difficult. In fact, I can't even quite get to the window on any of these. I have a couple of other different props. I like Justin Herbert to not throw an interception. I think he's going to be pretty safe with the ball. What's your take on Justin Herbert and CJ Stroud passing props?
I agree with you that the yardage I really kind of want no part of. I think they lined them pretty good, and I don't see much value as far as that goes. What I will do is I will take CJ Stroud to throw an interception.
I love that you just went right to the interceptions because I feel like the passing touchdowns and the interceptions props are where to go.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
So talk about Stroud here.
Look, he hasn't been the same player. And I remember the beginning of the season, everyone, well, he'll turn it around. Here's the problem. This passing offense is just decimated by injury. We're down players big time. So now you're really just relying on a select few, and it's not allowing him to really spread it around. Combine that with this offensive line has been bad, man. I don't think it gets talked about enough how bad this offensive line has been. Stroud has had pressure right in his face the whole season. And as we know, if you watch football, and you've been around football for a while, you know, pass rushers on the edge, they get all the credit. But in your face pressure is a problem. That's the only pressure that made Tom Brady uncomfortable. You had to be in his face. And now we have Shaq Mason out. So we're missing a right guard as well. So I think Stroud's going to be under pressure. I expect LA to be up. And at that point, look, there's no tomorrow. You got to throw the ball. There's no holding on to it. So I think he's going to put the ball in some risky situations. I think he has to win this game.
If you're a believer that the Chargers are going to win, I love this Justin Herbert under 31.5 attempts. I think this is huge J.K. Dobbins game, which we'll get to in the rushing props. But I'm with you. I love Stroud to throw an interception. I love Herbert to not throw an interception. Get back to Justin Herbert's roots. I think this is just one of those Harbaugh, like we are going to pound this team into the ground with our running game and with our relentless defense against that terrible. I don't even think it's questionable. This is the worst offensive line in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure.
From Houston. So big problems here. No opinion on the passing touchdowns in this one, but yeah, the yards we're staying away from. Steelers and the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson. I have talked all week about Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns, kind of creeping up a little bit, minus 155. I guess the only other thing that I would think about doing is the longest completion for Russell Wilson is 35.5, but you can get Pickens at like 23.5. So I wouldn't even mess with that. Yeah, I wouldn't even mess with that because if he's getting the longest one, it's probably going to be Pickens. So besides Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdowns, which you and I have talked about, do you have any other picks with these two quarterbacks?
No, I don't. And I was first thinking about Wilson interception as well. I'm kind of looking at targeting the teams that I believe are going to lose and their quarterbacks to throw picks because, again, there is no tomorrow. So who cares about the stat line? Just you got to win the game. And what you could get, too, which is always a beautiful thing, is that last-second Hail Mary interception.
The end of the game
punt that they catch. Yeah, exactly. So I was thinking that. Now, here's the one problem that's kept me off Wilson. I think if you're ever going to get Justin Fields on the field and spark this offense somehow, which has looked so bad. I mean, put it in perspective. The Jets offense has looked better than the Steelers offense. I mean, there's dozens of offenses that have looked better than the Steelers offense. I just think it ain't working, man. It's not working. George Pickens is an absolute mess from the shoulders up. And he's just that way. I can't put any faith in this team. So I can't go the over 1.5. The under 1.5 on Wilson is steamed out. The interception, I don't know. Does he get hurt? Do they pull him for Fields? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So I think the Lamar over 1.5 is probably the way to go.
We'll move on to the Broncos and the Bills. Listen, I got to be honest. The Josh Allen to throw an interception at plus 115 is mighty enticing. He makes some of these really. He will throw the ball into some really risky situations. But one thing that Josh Allen does, some of his interceptions where they go down as an interception, it's like second and long and third and long, and he throws it way downfield and it gets intercepted. And the announcers and the crowd like, oh, he threw an interception. It was like, that was a punt.
Exactly.
Like it did nothing. That changed absolutely nothing. Plus money has my attention on Josh Allen to throw an interception here. So I think he's going to have success running the ball, but he just seems to have a little bit of turnovers, turnover proneness there. So again, I can't get there on passing yards, but the interception, I like Josh Allen. What do you think?
I like where you're going with it. You're right. Again, they don't care about the stats. All right. If it's 3rd and 30 and they're on the opponent's 40, they're not going to kick a field goal. He's going to throw it up. They're looking to make a splash play. I mean, that's what the Bills and Josh Allen do. Where I'm looking at this game is Bo Nix has been fantastic. I think he's 100% outplayed his expectations for this year. This moment is a really, really tough moment for a rookie. So I don't believe they're going to be able to run the ball. I don't think you're going to see a ton of rushes. I think Bo Nix is going to be the whole offense with his arm and with his legs. I like the Bo Nix attempts. I think he throws this ball, if they're down, 35 to 40 times. Easy.
I'm with you. I think this is a great look. Like, when have we ever talked about the Denver rushing game, except
Never.
Besides how bad Javonte Williams has been for fantasy owners? Like, it's been bad, and you're right. Bo Nix, he's going to be their offense. He's got to be. And if they're down, he's going to smoke this 35.5. But if Buffalo gets out 10-0 in the first quarter, 14-0, he's going to throw the ball a million times. I love that look.
Yeah,
the 35.5. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. We move to the Packers and the Eagles. Here we go again. I'm going to talk interceptions. I love Jalen Hurts to not throw an interception here. I think this is a Saquon Barkley game. I feel like this is a Packers team that they just peaked too early. You have Jordan Love coming into the game with an arm issue. Christian Watson is out. I know the defense of Green Bay, in particular, their ability to put pressure on the quarterback has been good. Jalen Hurts threw 2 interceptions against Green Bay in the first game. That was one overseas, bad turf. I don't think he makes the same mistake. I think this is one of those veteran Jalen Hurts performances where he runs the ball 12, 13 times, does not take any unnecessary chances. Saquon Barkley runs the Packers to death here. And I think this is a Jalen Hurts really, really good playoff performance. So I'm going to take him to not throw an interception. What do you like on the quarterbacks?
I'm with you on that one. I'm definitely with you on that one. I don't like anything with Jordan Love because the only thing, again, I know I sound like a broken record, but if I would look anywhere, it would be the interceptions. Again, I expect the Eagles to be up. I expect them to handily win this game. You have the injury concerns with Jordan Love. The pass rush of the Eagles is going to be a problem. It's going to definitely get Love. Whether they get there in sacks or not, they're going to get him off his spot. And Jalen Hurts has been fantastic. Jordan Love has been fantastic about throwing on the run and not taking sacks. But that opens up opportunities for passes that maybe you shouldn't make. And in this situation, you got to try them. You can't take the sack. You can't run out of bounds a yard behind the line of scrimmage the whole game. You have to take risks. So if I would be looking anywhere, I would be looking at the interception. Not a fan of the number. Other than that, I really have nothing in this game. That's the only place I would look.
Commanders at Buccaneers. Listen, he's been one of our MVPs. Damn, Baker Mayfield throws to the other team a lot. I'll take him to throw an interception against Washington. He does, man. It's with Baker, it's just kind of like it's just part of the package.
Exactly.
It's just like to use a dating reference. If you date a stripper, there's baggage that comes with it. When you have Baker Mayfield as your quarterback, you're going to have some amazing games and some great moments, and you're also going to have a lot of interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't think he can help himself. It's in his DNA. And by the way, I wouldn't tell him to stop doing what he's doing. Like it's got you here. I would take Baker Mayfield to throw an interception. And I mean, how crazy of a could you do like a same game parlay with him to throw an interception and 2 touchdowns?
Yeah,
Because I think he could. I think he could absolutely.
That's a great play. That is a great play.
All right,
I love that.
This is the Kirk Cousins one with the over rushing attempts and under yards. All right, so let's see what this is. So we want to take Baker Mayfield to throw 2 touchdowns, and we also want him to throw an interception at plus 174. This is a great one. All right, so that's our same game parlay for
nobody's on that play. You are on an island with that parlay.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. I mean, I don't know. Do you like anything else? I think we like Jaden Daniels to do something with over passing props. I'm not sure which category though. What's your take?
So this game is pegged across the league as this is a shootout, right? This is what everybody expects. It's just points. Hair on the back of my neck is tingling here. I don't know what it is, but to see everybody on overs, all the points in the world, all the touchdown scores, all the passing props. I like where you're going with the interceptions. It's kind of contradictory. I can't get there with anything. I wish the Baker number was better on the 1.5. I think both quarterbacks throw over 1.5. Is it going to be the 70-point game that I'm hearing? I don't know. I don't think
great weather. Okay? I will say great weather.
You just have to think that these defenses at some point stand up. Turnovers, running the ball. We've seen the run game for both teams have some success, whether it be with the quarterback and the running backs. And I think that's just going to eat clock. So I like both of them to throw over 1.5. I mean, you're going to have to put Baker with something else, but really nothing else. Yardage, I have no interest.
I talked about Jane Daniels on Wager Talk today, over 22.5 completions. That's already up to 23.5. Forget last week against Dallas. Previous 5 games, he went over this. The Buccaneers give up 25.4 catch or attempts or completions per game. So if you believe in the narrative that, yeah, this is going to be an over type of game, then yeah, you can do that. So before we get to rushing props, can we do some narratives that could blow up in people's faces?
Let's do it. Because it's the playoff. It happens every year.
I'm not convinced the Chargers absolutely cream the Texans like everyone else does. I'm not convinced. I did this on my solo video. The square play is the Chargers. Mm-hmm. Houston at home, nothing to lose. Everyone is counting them out. This is CJ Stroud, who is a baller. I know their offensive line is in shambles. I'm just not going to completely rule out a home team getting blown off the field. I think that might be a narrative that could blow up in people's faces. What's a narrative that you think? Is it the over the Commanders of Buccaneers? Is that your number one narrative?
Yeah, that's my number. That's my number one. What's the total up to in this game?
The total
gotta be, I mean, I don't know, anybody
50.5. So they're expecting a lot of points.
What if one of these teams doesn't show up? Like
the rookie quarterback gets a little nervous. Yeah.
What if, God forbid, Baker goes down? There's so many variables, and yeah, I know it could look like an easy over, but that seems to me like the square total right there for sure.
I also think the Ravens, like a division rival, the Steelers know the Ravens really, really well. Like these two teams know each other. Like, would it be that outlandish to think the game is like 16-13 in the fourth quarter and it's this rock fight and everyone that laid the wood on the Ravens to just like cream the Steelers? I don't know. There's some narratives that one of them's going to be wrong. I don't know which one, but there's going to be one big narrative that's just going to absolutely crush people. So
It does seem like that. That does have the recipe of being a tighter game than people think.
Fields comes in on 3rd and 4, gets an incredible first down. The Ravens miss a field goal. Lamar throws a weird interception. I don't know. Steelers, Ravens, anything is on the table for those two teams. So, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button and leave us a comment in the comment section. Tell us what your favorite bet is for this weekend. You guys know we love reading the comments and seeing what your guys' bets are. We try and give you guys as many plays as possible. We do have our NFL prop pack that is up for this week on a really nice 9-5 run the last 2 weeks. So we've closed out the NFL season really good. I do have to mention, if you guys watch our content, you know the Australian Open is starting here. We have 30 days for tennis for only $59. I know it's college football playoffs. I know it's NFL playoffs. Tennis is where you can build your bankroll at this time of year. It's the Australian Open. The majors is where we do a lot of damage. Number 1 lifetime in all of the tennis plays. We're on a 48-18 run in tennis. That's my pitch. And keep it short, Jim. Do you guys like making money? Do you like making money?
Say it like an infomercial at 1 a.m. Do you like money? Do you like watching sports?
Yeah, I keep talking about it. And we have a lot of people on board for the Australian Open, but I just feel like it's not enough. I feel like there's a lot of people missing out on some of these profits. So, all right, let's go to receiving props. The hardest category, I believe, this weekend is the receiving yards. I have very few strong opinions on these. Chargers and Texans, I kind of got nothing. What do you think?
You ready for my hot take? Pass.
Yeah. All right.
Pass. Just total pass.
All right. Steelers and Ravens. Longest reception for George Pickens is where I'm going with that one. It's 25.5. Forget last week. He's gone over this in the 6 previous weeks. He's going to get multiple targets of 30, 40 yards. The key is, do you not get the pass interference? To me, that's the big key. That's the one thing that will keep this play from not hitting. But if it doesn't hit, or if they don't get the pass interference, he's going to reel one in. He could even get interfered with and still catch the longest one. So, I guess here with receiving props, let's do the Andrews and likely touchdown props.
Yeah,
because this is right in your wheelhouse. You're brilliant for this one.
I love the tight ends, man. I love the tight ends in this series, in this matchup, in this whole division. This division is riddled with good tight ends. It really is. Look, Steelers are bad against the tight ends, and it has to do with the defense that they employ. Okay. They love putting their linebackers in absolutely horrible coverage situations. And you would think that would be to the backs. It's the tight ends. So when you have a team that actually uses their tight ends and go up against the Steelers, it is whatever you want. It really is whatever you want. We saw this in the last matchup. You had both of these guys going for touchdowns against the Steelers, Likely and Andrews. I love these numbers. These numbers are great. Also, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Who's not going to be playing this game? Zay Flowers.
Yeah, Zay Flowers is out.
So you have Rashard Bateman, but Baltimore's going to lean on their tight ends in this game. I love both of them to score. Andrews more so. We're going at 6 in a row. This would be 7 if he gets a touchdown this week. And Likely has become a real target, man. There was talk last year about him just being a role player. Then when Andrews got hurt, I mean, you saw him take off. We made some good money with Likely last year, and he's continued this year. So I think they see plenty of targets. I think they light up the Steelers defense in the stat column. Receiving yards for Likely, if it's under 30, love it under 30 yards.
What's your favorite number here on the anytime scores? Because I'm going to stun you.
Mine's still Andrews. I can't go against the streak. I just know he's going to get targets, and Lamar loves throwing to him in the end zone.
I love first touchdown score at plus 750.
It's pretty good, man.
How many touchdowns are they going to have? 3? Mm-hmm. Maybe? So if I think Mark Andrews is going to score a touchdown, I can take it from plus 150 to get a 1 in 3 chance that he at plus 750.
Yeah.
I would take Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, both plus money. One of them cashes. You're good to go. You turn profit on that one. I would sprinkle Mark Andrews and Likely both to have the first touchdown. I know everyone's on Derek. 12-1 on Likely. Everyone's going to be all over Derrick Henry. Guess who else is? The Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think that's a really, really sneaky way to look at this one. Listen, Rashad Bateman, I was in a really deep fantasy league. I had him on my team, so I watched a lot of him. The last thing you want on betting in sports is to have money on Rashad Bateman. So stay off of that one.
Can I bring up one real quick before we move on? And I can't believe I'm going to say this. Longest reception. So we're everybody George Pickens, right?
Yeah, that was me. Square.
What about Calvin Austin? It's only 14
Talk
and
about
a half.
Let's talk about it.
So when they played the first time, he had 4 for 65. It's only 14 and a half yards. That's not a lot of yardage for a speedy wide receiver going over the middle. And I know I busted this guy's chops the other week. He's not a big threat. But look, the bottom line is Russell Wilson keeps throwing him the ball. So I could think whatever I want, but who's the secondary option? Is it Pat Freiermuth? I think this 14 and a half is attainable. I really do. I think that 14 and a half is very attainable. All you need is on one play, one missed tackle. He's going to get over this 14 and a half.
While we're here, can I interest you in Mike Williams over 8.5?
No.
Is that it? No? If he has one catch, he's not going 1 for 4.
True.
He's going 1 for 18.
Mm-hmm. And I hit this earlier in the year. I did. What I've noticed over the past weeks with you're right. If they do throw it to him, it's going to go over 8.5. But
absolutely,
his knee looks worse. It looks worse. The way he's running lately. I've watched a lot of the Steelers, and I don't like what I see from him route wise. I think there's a real high risk of re-injury. I don't want to. I made my money on Mike Williams already. I want to stay away.
Broncos and the Bills are talking some receiving. I have nothing, like literally not one play in the receiving for this one. Anything? No.
Dawson Knox.
Okay, yeah. I'll go back to Dawson Knox. Sure.
I think you can go over the 11.5, and you could take the 1.5 receptions. It was at plus money an hour ago. Not sure if it still is.
We're talking the receptions.
Receptions. I think he was 1.5 receptions at plus money.
Dawson Knox plus 130.
Plus 130. I don't mind that shot. I don't mind that shot one bit. Because they're trying to get him the ball. There's a couple times down in the end zone where Josh is forcing it a little bit to him. And I wonder if these two have just reconnected and kind of have their own plan going on here. So I have no problem taking a plus 130 shot on Dawson to get 2 receptions. I don't care if it's minus 5 yards. Just get 2 receptions.
We move on to the Packers and the Eagles again. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with the Packers wide receivers. I can't really get there with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith because I think everyone's all over it, and I think the books are all over it too. I guess A.J. Brown, but I just think this is a huge Saquon Barkley game. There's a lot of square takes on this video, but if you're the Eagles, aren't you riding the horse that got you there? With
if
Saquon?
You rested him last week, you better ride him. I'll tell you this: if they don't, you're going to hear one hell of an uproar coming from the Eagles fan base.
Wait, from Philly? You're going to hear an uproar from the Philly fan base? I have a level of appreciation for the Philly fan base that they are the same level of upset if they lose or if they win close.
Yep.
I love Philly. It's like, we should be winning these games by 40. It's like, dude, it's the NFL. You're going up against professional athletes. It's like, no, we demand better. So I love the Philly fan base for that. So, yeah, other than that, I don't know what to do with Green Bay. With Christian Watson out, one of these guys is probably going to get a majority of the targets because that's how the Eagles are going to let one guy kind of go a little rogue, but I don't know who it is. So
I'd be looking at Tucker Kraft.
I just 3.5.
Not the receptions. I would go with
You want the
yardage.
yards?
I would go with yardage, and here's the reason. I do think he's going to see volume. If I believe that the Eagles defense, which is rested and ready to rock,
36 and
is
a
going to be
half.
able to put
Okay.
pressure, the dump off has to go somewhere. It has to.
Okay.
Again, you can't take the sack. So even if it's a 3-yard, 5-yard, I have a feeling Kraft is going to see some volume against this Eagles defense.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
be interested in the 36 and a half. I haven't played it yet, though.
Commanders and Buccaneers. Again, this is a little bit of a tough one. You know who I kind of like who's been coming on strong is Jalen McMillan.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, because if you're the Commanders, you're going, you know what, that MF or Mike Evans ain't going to beat us. And then all of a sudden, McMillan's running wide open.
Yep.
I think one long pass, and all of a sudden, you're really, really in play for this McMillan 53 and a half. He's got good hands. He's healthy. It's one of these guys is like Zacchaeus is one of those guys that has kind of come out of nowhere. It just feels like this is a game where someone's going to have a really, really big one, and it's not going to be the Mike Evans at 75 and a half. It's not going to be the McLaurin at 65 and a half, although against this Bucs secondary, I'm not taking an under on Terry McLaurin. But, yeah, I'll go McMillan 53 and a half. I feel like a little bit out on a limb on that one, but I like what I've seen. What do you think?
I like the McMillan take. I wish the number was a little bit lower. But I do
see.
Agree
I like that it's high because the books are on the same page.
Okay,
they know it. They're like, this McMillan guy's got something. We're not letting people like Andy and Jim crush us when we put it out at 30 and a half. So
I like it, man. I think that's a good look. I think again, these props in this game to me are soft if you get off of the Mike Evans. Okay. After Evans, I don't think these numbers are very sharp. I think there's a lot of opportunity. The Cade Otton at 30 and a half. Did we all just forget how big of a part of the offense this guy was before he got hurt? Now, he is coming back from an injury, so you do have the risk of re-injury. You don't know. But, man, that is a low, low number. And if the double is going to Evans, I don't care what anybody says, the second target on this team is Cade Otton before McMillan. So I believe that the Commanders are going to have a plan in place, most certainly for Evans. So I would be looking at Otton and McMillan. Terry McLaurin should have a day.
He should be running wide open throughout
this Bucs secondary is abysmal. Abysmal. It is horrible. Receivers just run wide open. I've never seen receivers run a 5-yard hitch and have 12 yards of separation. Like, are you that worried about getting beat over the top? It's bad, man. It's just bad. So I think Terry McLaurin has an absolute day. I'd be interested in him to score. I think he gets in the end zone. So, yeah, look at him and look at Zach Ertz.
What do you like better? Cade Otton over 3.5 at plus 120 or Jalen McMillan over 4.5 plus 120?
I'll take the Otton over 3.5. I would line that at 4.5 at 5 receptions.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some rushing props, and we will go over some sack props that Jim has dialed up for us. All right, Chargers and the Texans. J.K. Dobbins at 14.5. I would just tell you this is a client play. He came back from injury, had 18 and 19 rush attempts. They put him on IR, which means, you're out for like 4 weeks. I don't think it was a 4-week injury. I think this was a really, really smart move by the Chargers. This is a new regime, and they were like, J.K. Dobbins has been healthy for the first part of the season, which is a miracle. He's got a little injury. Let's put him on IR. We do not need him for 4 weeks. Let's save him for the playoffs. This, to me, is a Harbaugh-type game. We're going to run. We are in the playoffs. We do not need to save J.K. Dobbins. And if the Chargers get up, and when I say if the Chargers get up, I mean if they get up 7-0, they're going to be like, we're running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
We do not need to play catch-up at all. I think this 14.5 is a really, really soft line. I do not care about Gus Edwards playing. I don't care that J.K. Dobbins is questionable. Gus Edwards, like Jim and I were talking, would you say 2 yards in a cloud of dust from Gus Edwards? He's so slow.
Mm-hmm.
You get in the fourth quarter and the Chargers are up, it's going to be Herbert to Dobbins. So I don't really have an opinion on any other props in this one. I just love this as a J.K. Dobbins game. What do you think?
I agree 100%. And this goes back to Harbaugh's track record. This is what he did at Michigan.
And San Francisco. Anywhere he goes, he does this. And he's great at it.
Yeah, there was a big debate whether he was going to change things going into the NFL. He didn't change a thing. He's running Michigan's offense. This is exactly how they ran it at Michigan. So I love this. It's the only play to play. I can't touch Mixon. I don't want anything to do with the yardage for Dobbins, just that they're going to hand on the ball 15 times. That's simple. Keep it simple in the playoffs and stack some wins, make some money.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And I love that Harbaugh just keeps it simple. And you know what he's going to do? And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to do it better. I love that about him. Steelers and the Ravens. This is a tough one for me. I think all these rushing lines are dialed in. The only one that I would potentially think about taking is Russell Wilson under his rushing yards, because if you would need a broken play really for him to do it. If they're going to have a quarterback run, I think it's probably going to be Justin Fields. That being said, Wilson has been taking off and running, and it's the playoffs. It's the Ravens. There's no saving, anything. You don't need to play it safe. For that reason, I'm not going to play it, so it's a pass on the rushing props. What do you think?
I was hoping we were going to get a line on Justin Fields. I was
they're not giving it to us.
Curious if we were going to get like an 8-yard, like one play. I'll tell you this. You want to talk about rushing? What about Justin Fields to score?
Ooh! Oh, I see where you're going. Let's pull up the TV scores.
Yeah,
this is diabolical.
In a gotta have it play. Do we even have? There it is. Go back down. Plus 850. I will be sprinkling that. That will be my small little tiny sprinkle. If they get down in the goal line, are you going to run Russell Wilson's old, you know what? Or are you going to put Fields in and say, just get to the end zone, please? That's where the sprinkle to me, plus 850.
That's great. I love that one. That's a fun play that you're hoping for. I love it. Broncos and Bills. Jim, the floor is yours because it's James Cook time. Go for it.
Happy James Cook week, everybody. This guy is a beast. He is. It's funny being a Jets fan. I have to play James Cook and Josh Allen twice a year. And when he first burst on the scene, it's like, it's Dalvin's little brother. Who cares? But this guy has turned into such a great football player. And the beauty about him is you don't have to take him off the field. If you're not trying to rest him, he is your running back. He is your third down back, first down, second down, pass protection. He's fantastic. Everything out of the backfield. He's just absolutely fantastic. We've already been tested in bad weather this year. He'll get over. The offense runs through James Cook. And for all the talk about Josh Allen MVP, this guy just gets hidden in the shadows. And nobody talks about how good he really is. Him at the goal line, what a weapon. I mean, how many times have we seen Josh just throw a flare out to him and he gets in? It reminds me of the late LT, where it was just, he might not be able to pound it down at the goal line, but you run a flare out of the backfield, he'll get you to that pylon. And that's James Cook. So I love his rushing and receiving. I love his rushing. I think this is just a James Cook day. And if they're up, I know Ray Davis has come on. I'm trusting James Cook to hold on to the ball. So if they're up, I think they feed Cook here. They rested him the other week. He's ready to rock. How do you feel about that one?
Do you know who's the leader, running backs and wide receivers for touchdowns this year? It's not James Cook. Do you happen to know who it is?
Out of everybody?
Yeah, out of everybody.
I should know this, but I don't.
Well, he got a big boost from David Montgomery being out, but it's Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
Okay, and then Derrick Henry would be an obvious. I think you'd stun a lot of people that James Cook is tied with Derrick Henry.
Wild, right?
Yeah, I would look at James Cook to score a touchdown here. Jamar Chase is fourth, Josh Jacobs is fifth, tied with Kyren Williams, and then Saquon Barkley. That's what's crazy. Kyren Williams, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, all more touchdowns than Saquon. So
you could blame Jalen Hurts for that.
I'm going to blow your mind here. Jalen Hurts, number 9. touch, not passing,
Wild.
rushing touch. He does it all the time. So I'm with you that Ray Davis. Thank you for your service. You will come in to spell. You will come in to spell James Cook occasionally when we need you here. So,
What do you think about Bo Nix? Because this is a correlated play for me. If I believe that they're down and Bo is dropping back to pass, again, we talked about attempts, 40, right? Of those dropbacks, how many times does he take off? This number's only at 28.5.
It's low. I get it. He's had some games where he just doesn't run at all, and Sean Payton has clearly coached him like, hey, you're not taking off and running every time a play breaks down. You're gonna go through your progressions and you go through it. So I can't get there on Bo Nix. So while we're here on Buffalo, I saw this tweet and I have to run this by you, our Jets fan here. I'm going to read you some stats. 3,897 passing yards, 28 passing TDs, 11 interceptions. Is that Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen?
It's not Josh Allen. It's Aaron Rodgers.
It is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
However, Josh Allen has the same amount of passing touchdowns and less passing yards.
It's those interceptions that gave it away.
It's the interceptions that do it. Yes. So
every interception Aaron threw this year was just another dagger. I'm just counting the daggers.
It's the best thing about the tweet is the quote from Aaron Rodgers. He says, "Down years for me are career years for other quarterbacks." As much as I'm not that big of an Aaron Rodgers fan, I love that quote. That is one of my favorite quotes. All right, let's take a look at the Packers and the Eagles. Saquon Barkley, 103.5. This is a playoff game where the Packers clearly know what the Eagles are going to do, and yet I would take the over on Saquon Barkley. Other than that, I can't trust any of these other ones, but I'm not going to play an over. I refuse to play an over on a guy that's 103.5. One little tweak of an injury or something goes wrong, and this is just you're playing with fire. That being said, it's an over on Saquon. Other than that, I have no opinion. What do you think?
Again, it's not high enough. It's just not.
I think you're right. I think you're right,
and we have to come to terms with that it's just not high enough. The thing with Saquon, we've seen him break these big runs in the fourth. Like, you got to think about with the Eagles, how painstaking it must be for the other teams that, like, all right, we're going to stop Saquon. Okay, well, now here comes this quarterback that can squat 700 pounds or whatever it is, and he starts running, 8 times a game for 45. It's just, by the fourth quarter, you're so done. You're so done. I agree with both of these lines. I think Hurts has a really good chance to go over 37, and I think Barkley has a real good chance to go over 103. Jacobs could get phased out of this game, so if you got the stones to take the under on him, but I think this is an Eagles enforcing their will, just pound the ball. The Jordan Love over 5.5 is interesting. That's got me thinking.
Hurt arm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, absolutely. I think that's
he'll be on the move. He's going to have to be on the move. Can't sit in the pocket against this team. So
what's the rush attempts for Josh Jacobs? Because see, I got to be honest. I actually kind of like the over on 17.5 because the Packers are without Christian Watson, man. This offense is completely different. I think they're just going to feed Jacobs the ball a ton. Like, even if they're down one score, even 10 points, you can still talk yourself into, like, what's our best weapon? It's Josh Jacobs. The Eagles, much better rush defense than pass defense, I believe. I don't know. You talking about Jordan Love? I like the over 1.5.
I think we just stumbled on something here. I didn't even think to look at his rushing attempts, and that might be my favorite play in this entire game.
With no Christian Watson, there's going to be times where a play breaks down, nobody's open.
It's 2 scrambles.
Yeah,
literally all it is 2 times. That's it.
All right.
If they get the ball, they decide to kneel before halftime.
There's one. There's 2.
Up or down. Yeah.
Okay. So Jordan Love over 1.5. That's kind of a sneaky way to play this one. So Commanders and Buccaneers. Is it this crazy that Bucky Irving, his line is one more rush attempt than Josh Jacobs? I think that's way too many carries for Bucky Irving.
I'll tell you what it says. Rachaad White played his way out of a starting job pretty with a couple fumbles this year. Sorry, Rachaad.
Hot take. I would rather have Rachaad White's job than Bucky Irving.
Oh, yeah.
Don't send me into the defensive line 20 times a game. I will catch swing passes and I will run the ball 4 or 5 times. Yeah, I'll make a little less money. Guess what? I'll play in the league 4 more years than that. I think Bucky Irving, I love Bucky Irving. He's a really, really good player. 18.5 carries is crazy in a game that I think is going to be pretty close. And there's a chance that Baker just finds a lot of success throwing the ball. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of carries. So I would take the under on Bucky Irving. Other than that, not really sure anything jumps off the page. What do you think?
I think Jaden Daniels can do whatever he wants. I really do. I just don't see this Bucs defense being able to keep up with him. And here's the problem with the Bucs defense. They have Vita Vea up front. He's the best run stuffer in the league. It's not debatable. He's the best. You want a nose tackle, you get Vita Vea. And you just watch him take 2 offensive linemen and throw them both on their asses every game. He's the best.
He just manhandles them, man. It's crazy to watch.
But the Bucs defensive line is not fast. This is the problem. I think Daniels could have some real success with his legs in this game. If he breaks contain, there is nobody. Look, Levante David's long in the tooth, not as fast as he used to be. Daniels is going to have some really wide open lanes to take off and run in this game. So I think he can get over this 51. I was hoping for it around 48. So 50, anything under 50, I thought was a really good play. Haven't got there yet, but I think he can get over this 51.
I mean, even Levante David's prime, he's not keeping up with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
like,
you ain't kidding.
So, yeah, I agree with you. All bets are off as far as like protecting yourself for next week. Mm-hmm. Just get the win, get out of there. So I'm with you on Jaden Daniels. So let's wrap up with some sack props here, Jim. What are you looking for? What games are you focusing on? Offense and defensive lines. What's piqued your interest?
Well, if we go to sack props, special teams, and defense props here, you'll see some numbers. So we're going to start off here with the Chargers game. I think this is an egregious mistake by the books. They have lined the 3 top sack leaders for the Chargers all at plus money. And I stated before, this offensive line is bad. Bad. And now they have another piece missing. So to be able to get Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and Thule all at plus money, I think you could split a unit on the 3 of these guys. Most certainly. If you correlate this, like I said, I like Stroud to throw a pick. These picks are kind of correlated. If he's not going to throw the ball into danger, then he's going to have to take a sack because they're coming. These guys, they're coming. I also saw with the Chargers, they did a really good job managing Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack at the end of the year. Both of these guys struggled with some injuries. They gave them rest. Harbaugh did a great coaching job with this and just said, you know what? We're going to hold you out for a little bit longer. You got a little nagging injury. You're out this week. We're going to need you for the playoffs. I'm not a huge Harbaugh fan, but what a coaching job this year. I think he's been absolutely fantastic with the way he's managed the injuries and the workload for his team. So I don't think you can go wrong with those 3 right there. Second thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, next game, if you have something on this.
Steelers Ravens?
Yeah, Steelers Ravens. Is Kyle Van Noy like the resurgence this year that nobody's talking about?
I don't know why we didn't put it. When I say we, I mean I don't know why I didn't put in as a client play.
Well, because sack props has been bad this year.
Sack prop, gets a sack, immediately does the money sign for the incentive. It was like, Andy, are you brain dead? I had to get a sack. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's the guy. It's wild to say in 2025 that Kyle Van Noy is the sack leader on a playoff team that's not the New England Patriots. Who
Yeah,
thought we would be here? Even money, half a sack. Russell Wilson, like we said, scrambling, gonna have to take off, not as fast as he used to. Got there in the first game against the Steelers. He's just gonna get there. I have a feeling he will get there. I like Kyle Van Noy.
nice. Any other?
No, nothing else crazy.
That's fine.
Look, full disclosure, sack props were not great this year. We laid off them for clients. Just some things that I noticed that you want to be aware of this week.
So we talked about. I have some crazy predictions moving forward in a couple sports. One of them in UFC is that guys are going to be fighting up weight divisions as opposed to down because the weight cuts. I think gyms and managers, trainers, and fighters be like, you know what? Enough with the horrendous weight cuts. I would rather you fight at your natural weight as opposed to killing yourself trying to make these weight divisions. You mentioned that Harbaugh sat and managed the time with Bosa and Mac. I think that's the future of the NFL. Everyone hates the NBA for load management.
Mm-hmm.
You know why teams do load management in the NBA? Because it works. Because it keeps your guys healthy.
Yep.
Because the playoffs suck. Because you have 7-game series in brutal matchups where your stars have to play 40-plus minutes in bumping, banging, get out and transition. And I think the NFL is going to look at that and be like Harbaugh did with J.K. Dobbins. Oh, you're banged up? Sit for 4 weeks. The Tom Thibodeau, I'm going to play all my starters 45 minutes in the regular season. I just don't think that works in this day. And I don't believe that some of these backups are as big of a drop-off. I think you can manage it. Look at the Chargers. Mm-hmm. They sat J.K. Dobbins and they did fine. They made it to the playoffs. And guess who has one of the freshest running backs coming into the playoffs? It's the Chargers. That's one of my big predictions. I think teams are going to kind of load manage some of these guys, and especially when your name rhymes with Bosa, you do.
Yeah.
You don't want to put that guy through the ringer and hope he's fresh going into the playoffs. Why would I need a banged up Bosa going into the playoffs?
That's a big regret this year is not playing his under sack total.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why. We looked at it. We talked about it. We never played it.
I know. But now it's playoff time. Unleash the beast. Yeah. Go after him, Joey. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us on the NFL Props and Parlays. Again, this is an NFL show, but we cannot stress enough. Go get 30 days of tennis for only $59 for the Australian Open. Those plays are going to be coming out fast and furious. The first, second, and third rounds are where we make all of our money in the majors.
Yep.
We will go in the semifinals and finals with no plays. Why? Because we made all of our money in the first few rounds. So expect a lot of plays, high volume. All the books and all the general public are focused on the NFL playoffs, the college football playoffs, and we do what we do, which is make money off of some of these other sports. We can help you build your bankroll. We've been doing it for years. Number one, last 2 years at Wager Talk in all sports, and tennis has been one of the big keys. So 30 days for $59. Go grab that. WT.buzz/AL. Good luck on your place, and we will see everyone later.
Good luck, guys.